1970's Ato Z of Football. Now then, Ramblers, welcome to a new feature. Grab yourself a bovril and welcome to the A to Z of 1970s football. Yes, when football was still clinging to its working class roots. Yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful game. Still stands out by far the finest decade. Played by hard but fair men and absolute flying wizards down the wings. Jinking, superb. Yeah, all played out in rundown concrete and steel theatres. At Scarves and Badges! That's what the bloke used to shout outside Ellen Road. And that was your order of the day. That was your dress code. Hats, scarves, badges and patches. And they were there to show your allegiance to your chosen heroes. And sometimes, as in my case, not even personally your chosen heroes. Now, more often than not, it was handed down, and this still happens, I'm sure, handed down the generational family tree. The passing down of the baton, or in my case, the poison chalice, from father to son, sometimes uncle to nephew, granddad to grandson. Time-honoured, hereditary ritual. Wonderful it was. A coming of age, if you will. Quick slip of bovril, crack on. Oh, yeah. So, football in the 70s, it's fair to say it was male-dominated, and every aspect of that testosterone-fueled arena was indulged on a weekly basis. Vicars could and did swear at football matches. Kids could shout anything they wanted. You could swear your head off knowing you were not going to be heard above that cacophony of the tribal cop end. No. I remember, thinking about this the other day, vividly. Just put my drink down. My first impressions on reaching, because we went right at the back of the gelded end at Ellen Road. The first time I ever went, Dad went right to the top end, and there was a balcony at the back where all the pipe work was, and kids could clamber up there and see above everybody. So you went up the concrete stairway of heaven. Yeah, it seemed to go on for fucking ever and ever and ever. And then you got to the enclosed space where it opens up at the top. So you've gone up all these stairs and you're dead excited and everything, but you can't see anything. And then it opens up and it was like, fucking wow. Seriously, it was an attack on every one of your senses. Smoke rising above everybody. You could see that, just a big sway of people. And there's all this stale fag smoke. The unmistakable reek of stale beer on everybody. And it was like, God, what's that? What's that? The gut-wrenching and not distant enough rank aroma of bloody urine from the stairwell of people who couldn't be asked to go all the way back down. And every other bodily function imaginable. It was just filth. But the most memorable, once you got up there, was, of all the attacks on your senses, it was the noise. Picture it now, you got up, opened up, and it was like, wow. Wow. To a 7-year-old kid, it was awe-inspiring, it was fucking confusing, it was scary, instantly addictive, but to put it simply, in layman's terms, it was fucking brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. Yeah. Right, I've got loads to get through, and over the span of the decade, I will invariably miss out on one or two things, so don't start battering me with loads of mash you've missed that. Just trying to pick out stuff that's interesting, stuff that is relevant, stuff that you've got to put in. Okay, so like I said, it's an A to Z. And some of the parts will come in 2 parts, 3 parts, whatever, as is the case with the letter A. Letter A comes in 2 parts, alrighty? Firstly, with it being the 70s decade, which I said, it is unquestionably the best decade of football. You have to kick off with the greatest of the 70s, and that was the team that invented the total football system. So let's kick off with the letter A. So yeah, the letter A, Ajax. Hailing from Amsterdam, Ajax took their name from a mythical Greek who fought in the Trojan War. I mean, you're setting yourself up straight away. You've got to be magnificent, haven't you? Now, they were founded in 1900, but by Dutch law, this is quite interesting, they were not allowed to turn professional until 1955. Now, in 1957, their fortunes turned. A certain Johan Cruyff signed on at the age of 10. Yeah, now obviously he's a schoolboy, not first teamer. So yeah, 10 years old. But from 1964, age 17, until 1973, he was Ajax's mega superstar. 329 appearances, 257 goals. He won the Ballon d'Or 3 times. He won the European Cup consecutively 3 times. And alongside Johan on this record-breaking journey was the Ajax genius manager Rinus Michels. Yeah, they regarded him as a professor. And check out these surnames, because they weren't far behind him in the legendary status. So you had Cruyff, Rinus Michels at the helm, Neeskens, Hahn, Krol, Swart, Kaiser, Stoy. Absolute legends, every one of them. And the chosen format was an unconventional, attack-minded 4-3-3. Three. Yes, absolute groundbreaking. And many of the aforenamed mentioned players went up to make up the 1974 Holland World Cup final team, which still probably on record as the best team never to win a World Cup. So yeah, cap off to you, Ajax of Amsterdam. What a great place to start. And I said it's in 2 parts because advertising. Now, advertising was relatively late in the 70s, and if you ask most people, you say who were the first team to use advertising logo sponsorship on their shirts, and they'll say, it's fucking Liverpool, mate! Liverpool! 1979 Hitachi! No, it wasn't! Get your facts right! Now, the Hitachi sponsorship in 1979, I was staggered to find this out. So, Liverpool signed a deal with Hitachi for a 1-year deal, and it was only £50,000. Oh! That just doesn't equate, does it, to today's... You can't even get probably a bag of bowls for that at your highest level, and yet Hitachi was sponsoring them. But no, it wasn't Liverpool. That was 1979, because in 1976, on January the 24th, Southern League side Kettering Town became the first British club to play with a sponsor's name on their shirts, as I'll show you. They signed a deal with Kettering Tyres, that famous company, when they turned out against Bath City. A 4-figure sum was agreed and brokered by Dugan, who was the club's chief executive, but the FA, you know, the big old spoil sports, the FA immediately ruled illegal. So this was 1976, and ordered the slogans to be removed. Get this, what the reason was. They ordered it to be removed because it could potentially affect the BBC's advertising standards. Yeah, so basically the BBC weren't getting a cut of it, and does that reek of corruption in the BBC? No, surely not. Surely not. That icon of British society, the BBC. Yeah, so they said, sorry, Kettering, do one. So there you go, a bit of an interesting fact for you geeky types. So that's A done. The letter B. Again, 2 parts. Okay? B. The ball. Because let's be honest, without the ball, you're not playing note, mate. So have a look at this ball from 1966. This was the World Cup ball. Have a look at that. See it? Yeah, classic. But that was replaced in 1970 by... Ah, yes. The Adidas Telstar. Whoa! Bit of research on the Adidas Telstar. It was used for the 70 and 74 World Cup, okay? And it was designed by Adidas. It was the first white football ever painted with black pentagons, which became synonymous with football throughout the world. Amazing. The distinct 32 white and black leather panels that comprise the Telstar made it the roundest ball of its time. Wow, that's got to be good for football. And then if you look at the football, little has changed because there are actual ball regulations. So get this, the match ball must have a circumference of betwixt, that's between, 27 and 28 inches and weigh between 14 and 16 ounces. Okay? So lastly, on the subject of 70s footballs, I'm going to show you a photo that comes with a trigger warning. Okay? This may bring on an episode of PTSD for many, many of the people of my age group. Okay? Take a look. Are you ready? I'm even wincing thinking about it, seriously. Have a look at this. Ah! Oh, man. No, I'm not going in goal. Wow, look at that. You can almost feel the pain on a cold Saturday morning down Schoolfield when somebody twatted that against you online, fucking January or February. The Mitre Mould Master, the beast. I shit you not, that thing hurt more than your dad's size 10 slipper or your dad's 38-inch fucking leather belt. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, bastard. Everybody remembers that. But another ball from the 70s, which this will bring back some good memories. Check this one out. There you go. Look at that little beast. Oh, yes. The Wembley Trophy 5. Brilliant for swerving. But I was talking to a mate of mine yesterday, and he fondly regarded the Trophy 5 because you could mend the bugger. Oh yeah, prior to that, balls were knackered. They were knackered because he says if you had a bit of a shot that went skew-whiff and ended up in the rose bush, and you know what I mean, it ended up with a puncture, didn't it? But that was the first ball he remembers that he used to be able to get a hot knife. Yeah, not for them reasons. No, that was later on in the 80s. You used to get a hot knife and you could weld together the puncture and pump it back up again. Man, the Trophy 5. Stuff of legends. Part 2. You're going to love this. Part 2 of the letter B is the biggest British attendance of all time. So, get this. It was the Great Battle of Britain. Yeah, not that one with Germany, no. An incredible record crowd of, strap in for this, 136,505. Okay? 136,505 people turned up to watch Celtic beat dirty Leeds at Hampden Park in a thrilling European Cup semi-final. Now, to throw some perspective on that, Wembley currently holds 99,000, all right? You've got nearly another 40,000 on top of that, and it's not even full. Celtic went on to lose the final 2-1 to Feyenoord of Holland, which obviously Leeds would have won, but they didn't. But they'd have cheated and they're not net lasers anyway, so there you go. Celtic Leeds, 136,505. Right, I'm going to go top up my Bovril, and when I get back, it's the letter C. Can you think what it is? Have a guess. See you again in a minute. Three, two, one, back in the room, back in the Bovril. So the letter C. The letter C is for Cluffy. Ah, yes. Oh, big head. A complete one-off. Never be repeated, Cluffy. Aside from his honours, which I'll touch on later, obviously, I think the one thing I loved about Cluffy was his famous quotes. Many of them, but I'm going to chuck in certainly some of his ridiculous but obvious, you know what I mean? You think, how did you think of that? And yet it's such simple rhetoric. Seriously, you just think, have you actually got a filter, Brian? And how good was that? So here's some of Brian. I'm not going to read, I'll read the first one out in my worst Cluffy accent ever, and then the rest of them I shall just dictate to you. So Rome wasn't built in a day, was it? But I wasn't on that particular job. Yeah, that's a bad Cluffy impression. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I wasn't on that particular job. Classic. Sacking me was a very bad day for Leeds United and a very bad day for football. I like this one. I'd talk to a player for 20 minutes and then we'll both decide that I was right. What about this? This is like putting himself up there. The River Trent is lovely. I should know because I've walked on it for 18 years. And he even dragged other people into his fucking bad world. If a player had said to Bill Shankly, I've got to speak to my agent, Bill would have hit him. And I would have held him while he hit him. Yeah, good old Shanks and Cluffy. Proper jobs. And this is probably his most famous quote of all time. I wouldn't say I was the best manager in the business, but I was in the top one. Yeah. Wow. Rest in peace, Bry. Absolute legend, Cluffy. We'll never see the likes again. Right, let's get on to the letter D. The letter D does need to be highlighted, and D stands for disaster. Okay, in 1971, the Ibrox disaster was a crush among the crowd at an Old Firm game. If you're not sure, I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs, but just to explain, if you're watching this and you don't know what the Old Firm game is, it's between Rangers and Celtic, and it's referred to as the Old Firm. So the crush at the Ibrox Stadium led to 66 deaths and more than 200 injuries. It happened on the 2nd of January 1971 in an exit stairway. And seriously, this could have happened at any places throughout the 70s at the standard of the grounds. So yeah, 66 people dead, 200 injured at the Ibrox Park as it was then in Glasgow, Scotland. Absolutely tragic. The letter E. Now this was a massive game changer for me. Okay, England versus Scotland, Wembley Stadium, 1977 home internationals. Scotland faced England in England. Okay, and whoever won the game knew that they'd won the home international trophy. Scotland went on to win 2-1 with goals from Gordon McQueen, Big Gordy, and Kenny Dalglish. And it was at Wembley Scotland lifted the home international trophy. That was the second year they'd done it. But they were that chuffed. There was a massive, massive pitch invasion. An absolute mass of tartan, including Rod Stewart, come on the pitch, dug it up, pulled the goalpost down, snapped the crossbar. Not in a violent manner though. No, not like your Millwall Luton or anything like that, Leeds Birmingham. This was just unbridled joy. Yeah, it was as I said. There was no violence involved. And I remember absolutely glued to the TV set and the colours, the noise, the anarchy of it. And I just thought, fucking, I like that. And from that day, because I get shit off so many people, why do you support Scotland when you're English? Well, it's like saying, why do you support Leeds when you live in Scunthorpe? You support who you want to support. And that absolutely did it for me. And I've followed Scotland ever since that day. I saw schoolboy internationals in 1978 where Paul Rideout got a hat-trick. Scotland won 5-4 with Paul McStay playing. I've been to the World Cup 1990. Me and Sid went. Amusing little story for you here. So me and Sid Durnian were basically the only two Scotland fans in school. So we got a bit older. We always used to go to Leeds and stuff. 1990, Scotland have qualified. Oh, we're having a bit of that. So me and Sid gets our head bag, football in the head bag, couple of cans, that's all you needed, couple of pairs of shreddies and a different top. So we bought a rail card each, which was like unlimited access right across Europe. Jump on any train, go where you want. Or so we thought. So we gets on, gets the 908 out of Scunthorpe, jumped on. This was back in the day when the you didn't actually have to get a ticket from the ticket office. You just got on the train and a guard would get you your ticket to where you wanted to be. But we already had the rail card. So we got on at Scunny and we're just sort of pulling out somewhere near, I don't know, somewhere near Althorpe. And the guard comes in and says, "Got your tickets, lads?" He says, yeah, mate. He says, "Where are you two going?" He says, "Italy." He says, "Oh, change at Doncaster." Absolute classic. Yeah, so that was England versus Scotland was the one that did it for me, 1977. Let's get on to the letter F. And again, this comes in two parts. FA Cups. You can't do the 70s without the FA Cups. This I found quite staggering if you equate it to today's terms. So, the decade of the 70s, 1970 to 1979, there were 9 different winners of the FA Cup. Wow. 9 different winners, yeah. There could have been 10, but Arsenal won it twice. Now compare that to now, and that just shows you the level of competition in the 70s. It wasn't a monopoly. It wasn't a rich man's sport where whoever had the most money won everything. No, it was proper bloody football. Yeah, apart from 1973, when Sunderland cheated Leeds out of an FA Cup by fielding a full-strength side, even though they were from the second division. Yeah, it's just wrong, isn't it? That should never have happened. And part 2 of F, finger. Yeah, you heard me right. Finger. To be precise, about that much of a finger. Paint the scene for you. Probably 78, 77, 78. Dad took us to watch Leeds as he was doing back then. And the pub across from Ellen Road is called the Peacock. Or the Bielsa latterly, but it's generally the Peacock. So kids weren't allowed in the pub. And there was a big wall at the back. And kids used to hang around there, have a tab, whatever, you know what I mean. So Dad does one in the pub, leaves us outside there for about half an hour or so. And I'm just kicking stones against the wall, talking to other young kids. and I thought, fuck's that? Right in the corner of the wall, there's this thing, and it didn't look like it should be there. So I picked it up, and I was right, I was right. It shouldn't have been there because it was that much of a fucking finger. So I thought, hey, I'm having that. Of course I'm having that. I'm 8-year-old, you nutter. Brilliant. Bloody half a finger. Oh, it was about 3/4 of a finger. So I put it in my pocket, and my plan was to take it home and take it to school. Yeah, because I thought, I bet I'm the only kid at school who's got somebody else's finger. But, wow, my mum took it straight off me and lobbed it, and she said it was disgusting. And I was thinking back on that a couple of weeks ago. I'm not being funny, but if you've lost that much of a finger, do you not think it might be in the vicinity of where you lost the fucker? Because somebody's not going to have nicked that off him and thought, oh, I don't, I'll take it back at the pub and nobody will know. No. So yeah, the finger, the 1970s finger. I wish I still had it. Anyway, I'm off to go make another Bovril. Catch you in 5. You see what that is? That's the letter G. Now the letter G stands for goalies. Oh, there were some legends in the 70s. I'll run these names by you. Okay. Ray Clements, Joe Corrigan, David Harvey, Alex Stepney. Alex Stepney once dislocated his jaw shouting at his defenders. I mean, that's proper emotion for you, isn't it? Imagine what he'd have done to his jaw if he was playing now and he had fucking Harry Maguire in front of him. Gordon Banks is safe from Pele. Yeah, in his accident that took his eye out. Big gentle giant Pat Jennings. Lovely, lovely man. Peter Shilton. Gary Sprake lobbing his fucking ball in his own net. Cheers, Gary. Bob Wilson. Jimmy Rimmer of Villa. But the one that stuck out for me was Paul Cooper of Ipswich Town fame. Now get this, in the 79-80 season, Paul Cooper saved 8 out of 10 penalties he faced. That is pretty impressive. And I believe he was only 6 foot, I think he was 6'1", which isn't massive for a goalkeeper compared to some of them others. And the one who probably stood out above everybody else just because he had a nickname was Peter Bonetti. Oh yeah, Chelsea fame. Peter Bonetti was known as the Cat. And interestingly enough, I did a bit of research. How he got the nickname, the Cat. And this is the truth, how Peter Bonetti got the nickname, the Cat. He had a pre-match ritual where he would go to the penalty spot, have a shit, and then cover it back over, and then go sit in the goal mouth and lick his balls. Yeah, true story. No, obviously not, you crazy fools. No, it was for his cat-like reflexes and agility. Yeah, so that was Peter Bonetti, the Cat. But as always, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. 1970's Ato Z of Football.